My 6-year-old grabbed my sleeve with both hands and looked up at me with the biggest smile. Mommy, I can't wait to see the ocean. My brother, standing 3 feet away, arms crossed, snorted and said, Kid, that trip's just for family. We left quietly. 3 days later, the resort called them. The card on file, gone, and my mom's calls started immediately. My name is Jolene. I'm 31, single mom, logistics coordinator outside of Charlotte, North Carolina. Nothing flashy, long hours, spreadsheets, phone calls where people yell at me about late freight containers. But I'm good at my job. Really good. Last October, my boss called me in and told me I was getting promoted. $14,000 raise. I want you to understand what that meant for me. I'd been clipping coupons for 3 years. Bria and I shared a 1-bedroom apartment where I slept on the pull-out couch so she could have the bedroom. I drove a 2011 Honda Civic with a cracked windshield I couldn't afford to fix. So what did I do with my first real breathing room? I called my mom and said, let's take a family trip. The beach. I'll cover everything. My mom cried. My dad said he was proud of me. My brother Darren, who's 28, sent a thumbs up emoji. 1 thumbs up. That was my first red flag and I completely missed it. I found a gorgeous beachfront resort in Myrtle Beach. For nights, 2 adjoining rooms, ocean view. I booked everything under my card, room deposits, resort fees, the whole package. I even prepaid a dolphin boat tour because Bria had been obsessed with dolphins since she watched a documentary at school. Just over $4,000 total. A huge chunk of my savings. But I thought, this is family. This is what it's for. 2 weeks before the trip, Darren called me, which was unusual because Darren communicated exclusively through one-word texts or by having my mom relay messages. Hey, so Tanya's coming too, right? Tanya, his girlfriend of 5 months. I'd met her twice. I told him I'd only booked for the 5 of us, him, me, Bria, mom, and dad. He could bring Tanya, but maybe she'd share a room with a rollaway bed. He went quiet. Then he said, actually, Tanya and I were thinking we'd want our own room. A 3rd room, beachfront, peak season, for his girlfriend of 5 months, on my card. I told him I'd think about it, which was my polite way of saying absolutely not. But then my mom called the next day. Jolene, would it really be so hard? Darren's finally happy with someone. Don't ruin this for him. Don't ruin this for him. I was paying for the entire trip, every single penny, and somehow I was the one at risk of ruining things. But I caved. I always caved with my family. I added the 3rd room, another $1,100. My cousin Ree, who's basically my best friend, called me when she found out. Joe, you are out of your mind. It's family, Ree, it's just money. She said, it's never just money with people like Darren. Money is how he keeps score. I should have listened to her. We arrived separately. My parents rode with Darren and Tanya, which felt a little off, but I didn't make a thing of it. When we pulled up and Bria saw the pool and the palm trees and the ocean in the background, she grabbed my hand and started jumping. Mommy, is this real? Are we really here? That's my baby. That's who this whole trip was for. The first night was fine. We had dinner at the resort restaurant. My dad ordered steak, my mom got shrimp. Darren and Tanya ordered the most expensive things on the menu plus 2 cocktails each. I looked at the bill and said nothing. Just handed over my card. Bria ate chicken fingers and drew a dolphin on her placemat. She was so happy. The next morning, I was in the lobby waiting for everyone so we could walk to the beach together. Bria had her pink swimsuit on, her floaties, her little bucket and shovel. She was so ready. That's when Darren came downstairs with Tanya and said, very casually, so we've been talking. We think today should be an adults-only beach day, just the family. I blinked. Darren, Bria is family. And he said, and I will never forget his tone, I mean the core family, you know. Not, and he gestured at my daughter like she was a piece of luggage. My mother said nothing. My father looked at the floor. Bria tugged on my sleeve. Mommy, I can't wait to see the ocean. And Darren snorted, Kid, that trip's just for family. The lobby went quiet. Tanya was on her phone like nothing was happening. My mom finally spoke up and suggested Bria and I do the pool while they took the beach. The beach I paid for, without us. Something broke inside me in that moment. Quietly. Like a rope that had been fraying for years and finally just snapped. I smiled and said, you know what, you're right. You guys enjoy your family day. I took Bria's hand, walked back to our room, packed our bags, and went to the front desk. I calmly asked them to remove my card from all 3 rooms. The woman behind the counter looked at me with so much sympathy I almost started crying right there. She processed it without a word. Card removed. All future charges would need a new payment method. Bria and I got in my car and drove 45 minutes down the coast to a smaller, quieter beach town. Found a little motel right on the water, $59 a night with a balcony overlooking the ocean. Bria stood on that balcony and screamed with joy. "Mommy, we have our own ocean." "Yeah, baby, we do." 3 days later, the resort contacted them. The card on file had been removed. They owed over $2,000, remaining nights, the meal package, and a mini bar tab that Darren and Tanya had apparently been running up like it was an all-inclusive. Over $300 in 3 days, except it wasn't on my card anymore. My phone lit up. 7 missed calls, 4 texts. Mom started concerned, shifted to annoyed, then went full guilt trip. "Your father's blood pressure is up, I hope you're happy." My father, who ate a pound of bacon every weekend and hadn't seen a doctor since 2019. But sure, I was the problem. Darren's messages were a different story, aggressive from the first one, and my personal favorite, Tanya's upset. She's never been so embarrassed. Tanya, who I'd met twice. Staying in a room I'd paid for, I called Ree. She picked up on the first ring. "Please tell me you did what I think you did." I told her everything. She was quiet for about 5 seconds, which is a long time for Ree, and then said, "Jolene Marie Rawlings, that is the most beautiful thing you have ever done. And I'm taking you to dinner when you get home." I actually laughed. First time since the lobby, but she also warned me. "They're going to hit you with everything. Guilt, anger, tears. Darren will play victim, your mom will play peacemaker, and your dad will pretend he had nothing to do with it. Be ready." She was right. Word for word. My mom finally got through to me. First thing she said, "Jolene, do you have any idea what you've done to this family?" Not, "Are you okay?" Not, "Where's Bria?" Just straight to what I'd done to them. I said, "Mom, I paid for that entire trip. Every room, every meal. And you all stood there while my daughter was told she wasn't real family enough to go to the beach." She went quiet. Then she pulled out the big weapon. "Your grandmother would be so disappointed in you right now. My grandmother Eileen, who practically raised me, who told me before she passed that the only person I ever needed to prove anything to was myself. Mom used her like a trump card. But it backfired. Because I knew deep down that Grandma Eileen would have pulled that card even faster than I did. I said, "Mom, I think Grandma would have done exactly what I did." And I hung up. Darren tried calling everyone to cover the bill, Uncle Pete, Aunt Diane, even a second cousin nobody had spoken to since a 2018 Thanksgiving argument about raisins in stuffing. Nobody helped him. Every single person asked the same question. Why isn't Jolene paying? She organized the trip. They ended up checking out a day early. Darren covered one room on his own card. My parents scrambled to gather cash for theirs. Tanya's room became the problem nobody wanted to solve. Meanwhile, Bria and I were at our little $59 motel, living our absolute best life. The owner, a retired guy named Clyde in a Hawaiian shirt, found out Bria loved dolphins and told us about a spot down the beach where they sometimes came close to shore in the mornings. We went at sunrise. A real dolphin, maybe 60 feet out, just arcing through the water. Bria screamed so loud a jogger stopped to check if we were okay. That moment was worth more than every dollar I'd spent on that resort. 3 weeks of silence after we got home. Hardest 3 weeks of my life, also somehow the most peaceful. Does that make sense? Then karma showed up. Darren's truck broke down, transmission, $2,200, and the person who always bailaid him out wasn't answering. My dad, for maybe the first time ever, said to my mom, "We can't keep doing this for him." Oh, now there were boundaries. When it was my money, nobody had limits. Funny how that works. Tanya left him 10 days after the resort. Reheard she told a friend she didn't sign up to date someone who couldn't pay for a hotel room. I know I shouldn't have laughed, but I did. My dad showed up at my door about a month after the trip. Old fishing jacket, stuffed dolphin in his hands. He looked like he hadn't slept in days. He didn't say hello. He just said, "I should have said something in that lobby." I couldn't move. When Darren said that about Bria, I knew it was wrong. We've been letting him get away with things his whole life, because it was easier to make you the bigger person than to actually parent him. "I'm sorry, Jolene." He handed me the dolphin and asked if he could see his granddaughter. Bria came running, saw the stuffed dolphin, saw Grandpa, and threw herself at his legs. She dragged him to the kitchen table and showed him every dolphin drawing in her coloring book. He studied each one like it belonged in a museum. I went to the hallway where they couldn't see me and cried into a towel. Darren showed up 2 weeks later, Didn't knock, just sat on my front steps. Reese spotted him dropping off groceries and texted me, "Your brother's outside looking like a lost dog. Want me to run him over?" I love that woman. I sat down next to him, quiet for a while. Then he said, "I don't know how to say sorry, never been good at it." Try. What I said about Bria wasn't okay. Tanya was pushing for a couple's trip and I took it out on you and your kid. And everyone let me because they always let me. He paused. I'm here because I have nobody left. I know that's a bad reason to apologize, but it's the truth, not a perfect apology. But it was honest. And sometimes an imperfect apology from someone who never apologizes, actually, means more than a polished one from someone who says sorry all the time. I said, "Darren, if you ever talk about my daughter like that again, you won't be welcome near us." He nodded. Fair. Bria opened the door, saw her uncle and said, "Uncle Darren, do you want to see my dolphins?" That kid, I swear. My mom came last. Saturday morning, casserole dish, red eyes. She sat at my kitchen table and said, "Jolene, I failed you. Not just at the resort. For years, I made you the strong one because it was convenient. When Darren said that about Bria, I should have shut it down. Instead, I offered you the pool like that was a compromise." She grabbed my hands. "Grandma Eileen would have been proud of you. And ashamed of me." That broke me all the way open. Bria walked in, saw us both crying and brought us each a dolphin drawing. Dolphins make people happy. That's science. It is absolutely not science, but I wasn't arguing. Things didn't magically fix themselves, I want to be honest about that. Trust takes time, but we started small. Sunday dinners. Phone calls that weren't about money or guilt. Darren got a second job and started paying his own way, maybe for the first time ever. 4 months later, I booked another trip. Same little motel. Same creaky bed. Same Clyde in his Hawaiian shirt at the front desk. But this time, everyone came. First morning, we all walked down to that spot by the shore. 2 dolphins came through the shallow water. Bria screamed and pointed and jumped, and my dad put his arm around me. "Thank you for giving us a second chance." And Bria turned around and announced to the whole beach, "See, dolphins make people happy, that's science." Maybe it is, that's my story. What I learned that summer, I'll carry with me forever. Being generous doesn't mean being a doormat. Loving your family doesn't mean letting them disrespect your child. And sometimes the bravest thing you can do is quietly remove your credit card and walk away. If you made it this far, thank you. Drop a comment if you've ever been in a situation like this. I'd genuinely love to hear it. Like the video if it hit home, and I'll see you in the next one. And hey, go draw a dolphin. Apparently, it's science.